Welcome, welcome. It's Food and Philosophy, episode 13. And I'm excited for this one because I am eating Ike's. This one is number 254B, the Mac Daddy. People are like, hey, Ike, when are you going to name a sandwich after yourself? Bruh, the Mac Daddy. So this has got my Mac Slaw. This sandwich was made to taste exactly like that one famous burger spot that has the most, like probably the most famous burger in the world. This is a sandwich to compared to that. This sandwich can be made vegan. Vegan meatballs, mac slaw, American cheese. Oh my gosh. This one is in my top 10 Ike sandwiches of all time. For those of you that were asking, hey, Ike, how often do you eat Ike's? My favorite food and philosophies are the ones when I get to eat Ike's. All right. I should probably get to work. Well. Guess what chapter we are on now? Wait for it. Wait for it. Wait for it. Then an old man, a keeper of an inn, said, speak to us of eating and drinking. Oh my God, food and philosophy, speak to us of eating and drinking. This is literally like meta and meta. This is going to be the episode. So speak to us of eating and drinking. And he said, would that you could live on the fragrance of the earth and like an air plant be sustained by the light. But since you must kill to eat and rob the newly born of its mother's milk to quench your thirst, let it then be an act of worship. And let your board stand an altar on which the pure and the innocent of forest and plain are sacrificed for that which is pure and still more innocent. When you kill a beast, say to him in your heart, by the same power that slays you, I too am slain, and I too shall be consumed. For the law that delivered you into my hand shall deliver me into a mightier hand. Your blood and my blood is not, but the sap that feeds the tree of heaven. Today you eat, tomorrow you are eaten. So what are you having? Your blood. Feed. And when you crush an apple with your teeth, say it to your heart, your seeds shall live in my body, and the buds of your tomorrow shall blossom in my heart, and your fragrance shall be my breath, and together we shall rejoice through all the seasons. And in the autumn, when you gather the grapes of your vineyards for the winepress, say to your heart, I too am a vineyard, and my fruit shall be gathered for the winepress. And like new wine, I shall be kept in eternal vessels. And in winter, when you draw the wine, let there be in your heart a song for each cup. And let there be in the song a remembrance for the autumn days, and for the vineyard, and for the winepress. Use eating and drinking as your prayer to the earth, to the universe, to the being or beings that provided you the meal. Like literally and literally. Like literally the bread, the wheat, my sandwich, the tomato plant in my tomatoes, the milk for the American cheese. The flesh and the soul feed the same things. Your flesh feeds, their flesh feeds, your soul feeds, their soul feeds. Our flesh and our soul eat the same things too. Today you eat, tomorrow you're eaten. Notice not only when you are devouring, but also how are you devouring it? Are you eating and drinking as a prayer? Notice what's doing the devouring too. Everything must come out. Everything. What are you producing for this input? Consciously, if we put your attention here, we can produce everything, anything exactly as we wish it. I was reading a book on the sorcerers in antiquity and how they knew when they would ingest anything, especially drugs, whether that was ayahuasca, peyote, whatever their thing was, alcohol, but even in the regular food, they knew that everything that comes in, the law of compensation, nothing's ever lost, nothing's ever gained. So if you're going to do a drug, I haven't done very many. I've not done ayahuasca or peyote or what are the other cool ones these days? Special K. I don't know if that's what you guys call it anymore. MDMA, Molly, whatever these things are. If you're going to do them, there's no such thing as gaining without losing. And so the sorcerers in antiquity described how, okay, they knew they were going to ingest, say, food, ingest the drug, ingest just water, and that there was going to be a payment for it. It's likely why we end up having hangovers or feeling lag after doing drugs or eating food, or especially if you overeat, especially if you mix foods that you shouldn't be mixing together. It's not really relevant what the items are, but what they would do is they would do everything as a prayer. They would speak into existence their goals. It's likely where cheers originated from. Instead of going, they're going to drink or take their drugs or just have a meal, instead of going to health or whatever, they would say, hey, okay, we know that the law of compensation says nothing's ever given, nothing's ever lost. So if I'm going to perceive in the time space continuum that I'm going to have a benefit right now because of the drug or because of the food, because I'm hungry and now I'm not hungry, etc., that there's going to be a payment for that. Maybe not a literal payment, but nothing's ever gained, nothing's ever lost. Anytime you think you've gained, if you look closely, you've lost. And if you think that you've lost, if you look closely, you've gained. And so speak into existence as you eat, as you drink. And if you're going to partake in alcohol or other drugs, speak into existence your goal in that moment, knowing that you're gaining power now, but that you'll have to end up paying for it immediately. Your relationships to your nourishment can be anything that you wish for it to be. Look at your experience of you eating food. Look at your experience of where it comes from. Look at your experience of your body, your health. Do these experiences bring you a pleasurable experience when you think about them? Each singular one, but also as a whole. For all the areas that do not bring you a pleasurable experience, pinpoint the experiences that you would like to have instead. So if you're eating and you're like, oh, I'm fat. I had just talking about this earlier today. If you have an experience and you're not having a pleasurable one, specifically regarding food, your body, your health, notice how and notice now all the ways that you don't like about it and switch it to what do you like about it. And even just noticing this change, oh, I feel fat or whatever. Instead, focus on the flavors, focus on the taste. Focus on if you feel like you're lazy on your rest. There you are, and you're instead of being, oh, I'm lazy, I'm not getting up. Notice how relaxed you feel. Notice the good parts. And just in the noticing that you felt bad, but now noticing the things that feel good, you'll feel better. Like now, not later. You'll feel better in the moment. Oh, I'm lazy. Oh, actually, look, my pillow's so comfy, or this video game I'm playing is so fun, or instead, and you will feel better literally right now. Speak to us of eating and drinking. Then a plowman said, Speak to us of work. And he answered, saying, You work that you may keep pace with the earth and the soul of the earth. For to be idle is to become a stranger unto the seasons, and to step out of life's procession that marches in majesty and proud submission towards the infinite. When you work, you are a flute through whose heart the whispering of the hours turns to music. Which of you would be a reed, dumb and silent, when all else sings together in unison? Always you've been told that work is a curse and labor a misfortune. But I say to you that when you work, you fulfill a part of Earth's furthest dream, assigned to you when the dream was born. And in keeping yourself with labor, you are in truth loving life. And to love life through labor is to be intimate with life's innermost secret. But if you and your pain call birth an affliction and the support of the flesh a curse written upon your brow, then I answer that not but the sweat of your brow shall wash away that which is written. You've been told also that life is darkness, and in your weariness you echo what was said by the weary. And I say that life is indeed darkness, save when there is urge. And all urge is blind, save when there is knowledge. And all knowledge is vain, save when there is work. And all work is empty, save when there is love. And when you work with love, you bind yourself to yourself, and to one another, and to God. And what is it to work with love? It is to weave the cloth with threads drawn from your heart, even as if your beloved were to wear that cloth. It is to build a house with affection, even as if your beloved were to dwell in that house. It is to sow seeds with tenderness and reap the harvest with joy, even as if your beloved were to eat that fruit. It is to charge all things you fashion with the breath of your own spirit, and to know that all the blessed dead are standing about you and watching. Often I heard you say, as if speaking in sleep, He who works in marble and finds the shape of his own soul in the stone is nobler than he who plows the soil. And he who seizes the rainbow to lay it on a cloth in the likeness of man is more than he who makes the sandals for our feet. But I say, not in sleep, but in over wakefulness of noontide, that the wind speaks not more sweetly to the giant oaks than to the least of all the blades of grass. And he alone is great, who turns the voice of the wind into a song made sweeter by his own loving. Work is love made visible. And if you cannot work with love, but only with distaste, it is better that you should leave your work and sit at the gate of the temple and take alms of those who work with joy. For if you bake bread with indifference, you bake a bitter bread that feeds but half man's hunger. And if you grudge the crushing of the grapes, your grudge distills a poison in the wine. And if you sing, though as angels, and love not the singing, you muffle man's ears to the voices of the day and the voices of the night. Speak to us of work. Every time I read this, I get chills. This part specifically. This is what the world needs to hear now and on repeat. Like, if this chapter, 1, 2, 3, 4 pages, was read every single day in school to encourage folks to be inspired to only pursue work that it would be full of their love, how much better would the world be if not a single one of us worked at a job that they had disdain or distaste for, and every single one of us instead was working full of love in our work? And it doesn't matter what it is here. You can be a farmer, an artist, a business person, It's not of any consequence when work is love made visible. Work is the way to the heart of the universe. It is only a dark path when you yourself are lost. Shed light and love onto your work, and all the blessings of the dreams of life is yours. If the entirety of the world is perfect and beautiful, then so too is work. Your personal growth is work. Your relationships are work. Nothing that's worth a damn is not work. To be alive, inspired, and well, this requires work. In fact, the more work you do, the more alive you'll be, the more inspired you will be, and the more well you'll become, as well as the people around you too. They'll get well or inspired or more inspired, and they'll feel more alive. The only curse around work is for those that do not heed their calling or put forth their desires and well-being first, thus make excuses of why they will not contribute to humanity. If you're ever are hearing anybody complain about work, that's a them thing. They can work literally anywhere. They could take it's perceived as a risk, but it's not really a risk if you love what you're doing, because you do it anyway. And if you love what you're doing, you're going to do it with genius and creativity, and you're not going to be not successful in the long term. So ever hear anybody complaining about work? You've worked with these people for sure before. I've been that person before. Those people are not working with love. So remind them it's not work. And heck, it's not even the job that they're in, because likely some people at that job like it. It's that they don't love what they're doing, and we should encourage them. Nay, we should throw them the fuck out and tell them to go do what they love. That would be how to help somebody. Not say, yeah, oh, I got a case of the Mondays. Oh, it's hump day. Thank God it's Friday. Throw them the hell out. Tell them, you know what? You can't work here anymore. If you have courage, you tell them that. You know what? You can't work here anymore. I'm doing you a favor. Go love what you do somewhere else. You'll be better. The world will be better. And for sure, the damn company will be better, because anybody that hates their job is just overhead. It makes it cost more expensive for everyone else. So inspire them, even if through forcefully letting them go, and encouraging them to go and fulfill their dreams, or at least to find a job that they love. You love animals? Go become a pet walker or a zookeeper, or just become a cat YouTuber or something. That would be better than hating your job. And you will definitely contribute more as a cat YouTuber than working anywhere when you don't like it. Where you find your inspiration, you'll find your light. You'll find your life. You'll find magic. And you'll find where your love is already. And most importantly, your contribution to the movement of the entirety of the universe. Find your inspiration there. Do yourself a favor. If you don't like where you're at, get out. Get out. Be courageous. And if that's not available to you, then link the things that are higher in your values, link the things that you love to your current line of work. Thus, that you'll end up loving what you're doing, even if you might not love what you're doing. But if you link it to your values, you link it to the things that you love, then when you actually do it, you'll go, oh, actually, I should work at this fill in the blank spot, because it helps me fulfill these things. Only if those things are high on your value. Don't say it helps you make money if you don't care about money. There's nothing wrong with not caring about money. But you can't say I want to stay here because the payment is there, but money's not a high value for you because then that's basically just a mercenary. You need to link it to things that you actually love, link it to things that you actually value. When you multiply your inspiration by your work, the only limits to your riches is in your brain's capacity to think. I'll say that part again. When you multiply your inspiration, your light, your life, your magic, your love, by your work, you take that and you multiply it by work, regardless of the work. It could be making sandwiches. I mean, look at me, I'm making sandwiches. It could be anything. You multiply that by your work, and the only limits to your riches will be the limits in your brain that you can conjure up. So, where is your love? Where is it right now? Show this. Show it. Show it to the universe. Show it through your work. Show it through whatever. And if you look at where it is that your love is right now, work that. Prove it. Show it. Prove it. Be it. Be where your love is. Do you really love animals? Why are you not working with animals? Oh, you must not love them enough to work with them. You love helping people? Well, why aren't you helping people for a living? You must not love helping people enough to do that. You love cooking? Why aren't you opening up a restaurant? Why aren't you feeding people? You must not love. People confuse love. Your actions show you what's important to you. Your actions show you where you are valuing things more than other things. We all say we want to fill in the blank, do those things, have these things, act these ways, and then we don't do them. It's a fake ass goal. So where is your love? Now prove it by doing it, by being it, and by showing it to us. Like, I'm not saying you love something or you don't love something, you do. And if you're not doing it, then you're not being truthful to yourself. If you're not providing for humanity through your love, you cannot be considered a lover of humanity. If you say you love these things and then you don't do it, then you're lying to you, or are you lying to us? And so how can you say that you're contributing if you won't even contribute through a space that you allegedly love? How can you say that you're contributing to anybody if you won't contribute what you love? How can you say that you're contributing if you won't even be truthful for yourself, where your love is and where your work is? Because if you're not a lover of yourself enough to love through your work, then that means you can't love somebody else too. Like, you literally can't. Okay, so you're going to tell me that you love to do these things, but you let fear or worry or comfort or something else get in the way of you and your love of something. You're either lying or you are valuing comfort or something else over your love, which means you don't love it enough. So how can you be contributing to us? Spoiler alert, that means you can't be contributing to us because you're not even contributing to yourself at that time. But lo and behold, everybody, bet you if we polled everybody that watched this video, watching it now, watching it in the future, watching it 100 from years from now, they're all going to say, yes, I want to contribute. Yes, I want to do what I want to love. Yes, I want to be valuable. Yes, I want to show the people I love that I care about them. And then everybody will raise their hand, like 99.999. Maybe somebody was asleep in class and they didn't raise their hand. That's the only reason why somebody wouldn't raise their hand when asked that question. And then you go, great, who's doing it? And then, like, what, 3% of the room will be like, yeah, I'm doing it. Yeah, I'm doing it. Maybe 5 or 8%, but like half of those people will be lying. Why? Speak to us of work. So I'm going to read the last part again. And what is it to work with love? It is to charge all things you fashion with a breath of your own spirit. And I say that life is indeed darkness, save when there is urge. And all urge is blind, save when there is knowledge. And all knowledge is vain, save when there is work. And all work is empty, save when there is love. And when you work with love, you bind yourself and to one another and to God. Like everybody wins when you work with love. So where are you buying into others' beliefs about reality, about work? Where you're like, oh yeah, actually capitalism sucks. I got a lot of that recently. Capitalism sucks. No, people that work without love suck. Everything else does not suck. If you work with love, whether it's capitalism or some other form, it doesn't suck. Your version where you don't work with love, yeah, that sucks. And often that comes in the guise of capitalism because gotta eat to live, gotta steal to eat. When they don't realize they're the ones that are the thieves because they're working without love. When you work, you fulfill a part of Earth's furthest dream, assigned to you when that dream was born. And in keeping yourself with labor, you are in truth loving life. And to love life through labor is to be intimate with life's innermost secret. And what's life inmost secret? Is that it wants you to love what you're doing 100% of the time. Not sometimes, 100%. Love's secret, aside from that, is when you love what it is that you're doing, regardless of what it is, snuggling your baby cat, your kitten, your puppy, hanging out with your loved ones, feeding people, painting. It's of no consequence what the item is, but when you love what it is that you're spending your time doing, the universe rewards you and loves you back. Because that's what is the secret. Work is your love made visible. So when you work and you don't love it, you're making your non-love visible. And that's why you're not having a good time at work. Not because your boss sucks, even though your boss might suck. Like your boss might actually suck, but you don't want to be there. So you are showing you're not love. And your experience is bad because you're not loving it. Because there's likely people that still have the same sucky boss, crappy boss, but love what they're doing. Spoiler alert, doesn't matter who your boss is. Spoiler alert, doesn't matter who the governor is or who the president is or who your government is. It does not matter. It matters that you are not doing what you love to do. Work is love made visible. And if you cannot work with love, but only with distaste, it's better that you should leave your work and sit at the gate of the temple and take alms of those who work with joy. I'll read that part again because if this is you, like literally it's better for you to quit and then go for what you want than to not love what you do. So work is love made visible, which the opposite means true too. If you don't love what you're doing, you're going to be showing that. It's going to be visible to everybody. You know, you walk into a business or a restaurant or something and you're like, oh, the service here sucked today, or these people must be having a bad day. You think you don't expel and show off the same things when you don't love what you're doing? Work is love made visible. And if you cannot work with love, but only with distaste, it is better that you should leave your work and sit at the gate of the temple and take alms of those who work with joy. Because if you don't, if you're baking your bread with indifference, you bake a bitter bread and everybody can taste that. People are like, oh, I didn't feel love at this Ike's today. Or I went there and the staff at fill in the blank airlines sucked. Not only is the bread bitter, but it just feeds half of the man's hunger. And if you grudge the crushing of the grapes, oh, I gotta work today, you distill literal poison into your product. And if you sing, even though you're so talented as angels and love not singing, you muffle man's ears to the voices of the day and the voices of the night. I mean, think of all these. There's tons of professional athletes that, oh my God, they're so talented, but they don't like it, and so they get kicked out of the league earlier than someone else would, versus someone else who may be working harder and they have more talent, obviously than us because they're a professional, but maybe not as talented. But yet they put their love into it and they become better than the strictly physical embodiment of whatever that sport is. And it happens in art too. Artists, singers, where they don't really care about it, and so they flash in the pan and they're gone. So speak to us of work. It doesn't matter when it's only a matter of time. Your well-being is your greatest contribution to humanity. No exceptions, ever. I'm going to taste one of my contributions to humanity right now.